Greetings, everybody. This is Father Ted Cassidy, and I'm very happy to share some reflections for the season of Lent. I'm so glad to see you students sharing these reflections. I saw most of them last year, and they were very, very helpful and very meaningful. So I want to share some thoughts on the paradox of how we go through Lent. And so paradox is like, how do you bring together two things that seem to be opposite? So during the season of Lent, we're called to fast and to pray and to reach out to other people. And we're called to perhaps get all involved in these three things and do the best that we can in all three of them. But the paradox is that as we do this, it is really the power of God acting in us that brings them about. So there's a famous story of a monk, one of the hermits, who left the Roman Empire in the time of Constantine and went into the desert areas of Syria or Mesopotamia. And he went to the abbot Moses, and he was confused and upset. And he sat down with Brother Abbot Moses, and he said to the abbot, "What do I do to get rid of this confusion?" And the abbot said to him, "Go back to your cell and live in solitude." So what's that all about? I find that in my own life, when I have confusion or decisions to make or things that are very difficult, I can do my best to try to figure them out. But there can come a moment when, after the processing, after all the figuring out, you simply settle down, and in the solitude there comes a peacefulness and an answer to these confusing questions. The same thing about a vocation. What do we do in our life, or different parts of our life? How do we decide? Well, we process it the best we can, but the gift is that we're given this extraordinary insight and peacefulness from Christ. At the Mass, the priest pours the water in the offertory into the wine, and he says, "By the mixture of this water and wine, may we share our humanity with the divinity of Christ." It's like we share our humanity, what we go through, what is the divinity of Christ. And I want to say that Mary is the wonderful, magnificent gift we have in the church in order to be able to live this paradox, because she was united with Christ and shared his glory and his wisdom, and also his terrible suffering, and finally his resurrection. And she did it recognizing, living it in hope and charity and in love, knowing that all the human things that she went through, all the pain and suffering, would eventually bring about a new life a new life for the church and for others. So that's what I want to share with you. We do our best to develop ourselves as persons. We do our best to help society, and that is really our obligation. But it is really the great power of the Holy Spirit, as we know, and of the power of Christ in us, that brings it to fulfillment. And that's what we celebrate when we come to Easter. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Good night. Thanks. Bye.